My former colleague Gary called me one day to ask where he could find a shaman that could perform an ayahuasca ceremony for he and his father. And I did ayahuasca for my 50th birthday out in Malibu, and yeah, that's a whole story. But meanwhile, I was like, ayahuasca for you and your dad? I thought you guys weren't speaking to each other after the old man had gone down the cable news rabbit hole. And Gary said, yeah, it was his mom's idea. She was sick of her husband and son not speaking to each other, and she'd read an article that said ayahuasca stimulated feelings of oneness and connectedness, and she'd insisted on the trip as her 50th wedding anniversary gift, and this was non-negotiable. So they had to do 3 days of fasting, which included no cable news, no smartphones, no Facebook, no Instagram. And so they did as they were told. And I guess the drive out to the ranch where they were going to do this ceremony started out pretty frosty. But eventually, they started comparing notes about how ingesting ayahuasca involved a lot of throwing up and sometimes worse. And the closer they got to the destination, the more they were talking themselves out of it. And then they drove past a Habitat for Humanity worksite. And both Gary and his dad are very handy with tools, and they thought maybe framing up some houses for folks in need might be kind of fun. So they took a little detour, and they wound up swinging hammers side by side for a couple of days and sleeping in the back of Gary's truck under the stars. And they worked a lot of stuff out. Partly because they spent a good chunk of that time inventing the story that they were going to tell Gary's mom when they got back about their psychedelic voyages. And that really made Gary's dad laugh. And Gary said hearing his old man's laugh was better than any drug he had ever had. Technically, a golf cart is a sports car. In terms of social plans, being up for something and down for it are the same thing. English spelling is so weird compared to other languages. We've made a really hard contest out of it.